Welcome to Vektor Intelligence. I'm going to tell you the story of a company that literally invented the technology that destroyed it. A company that had the future sitting right in their hands, and chose to bury it. This is the story of Kodak. And by the end of this video, you will understand not just what happened to Kodak, but the exact business pattern that causes great companies to destroy themselves. Because this pattern, it is happening right now, in companies you use every day. Let's go back to 1975. A 24-year-old engineer named Steve Sasson was working at Eastman Kodak's research labs in Rochester, New York. He had been given a quiet assignment, to see if it was possible to build a camera that used electronic sensors instead of film. Nobody expected much. It was just an experiment. But Steve Sasson did something nobody anticipated. He built it. The world's first digital camera. It weighed 6 kilograms, took 23 seconds to capture a single black and white image onto a cassette tape, and had a resolution of 0.01 megapixels. It was rough. It was massive. It was ugly. But it worked. And Steve Sasson carried it into a meeting room at Kodak headquarters, set it up in front of the company's leadership, and showed them the future. Their response? That's cute. But don't tell anyone about it. Let that sink in for a moment. The company that would eventually be destroyed by digital photography, invented digital photography first. And then locked it in a drawer. Now, to understand why they did this, you have to understand what Kodak actually was in 1975. Because Kodak wasn't just a camera company. Kodak was one of the most dominant businesses on the planet. At its peak, Kodak controlled 90% of the film market and 85% of the camera market in the United States. They employed over 145,000 people worldwide. The city of Rochester, New York, was essentially built around Kodak, so deeply embedded in the local economy that people called it Kodak City. Because while Kodak was protecting its film business, something was happening in the market that their financial models couldn't capture. Digital cameras were getting better. Every single year, they were getting cheaper, faster, higher resolution, and easier to use. The technology was on an exponential improvement curve, while film was already at its ceiling. And Kodak watched this happen. They weren't blind. They invested in digital research. They actually launched some of the world's first commercial digital cameras in the 1990s. In 1991, Kodak released the DCS-100, one of the first professional digital cameras ever sold. They had the technology. They had the engineers. They had the brand trust of millions of customers worldwide. They had every single ingredient needed to dominate the digital photography era. But they had a problem. Every time Kodak's digital division started gaining momentum, the rest of the company quietly pumped the brakes. Because digital photography didn't just compete with film cameras. Digital photography made film completely irrelevant. Every digital photo taken was a roll of film that was never bought. A print that was never developed. Revenue that simply ceased to exist. Kodak's digital team was essentially being asked to burn down the most profitable business in the company's history. And the people who ran Kodak, the people whose bonuses and careers and legacies were tied directly to the film business, were never going to let that happen voluntarily. This internal conflict, this inability to cannibalize your own most profitable product before someone else does it for you, is the real reason Kodak failed. Not ignorance. Not incompetence. Not bad technology. They failed because of something far more human and far more dangerous. They were too successful to change. Their profit margins were extraordinary. Film was not just a product, it was a recurring revenue machine. You bought the camera once. But you bought film rolls for every single event, every holiday, every birthday, every graduation for the rest of your life. And then you paid again to develop it. Every photo printed was money in Kodak's pocket. The business model was almost perfect. And that was exactly the problem. When Steve Sasson showed Kodak's leadership his digital camera, they didn't panic. They didn't dismiss it as impossible. They understood it completely. The internal analysis they commissioned concluded that digital photography was a real threat, but estimated it would take somewhere between 15 and 20 years before digital technology was good enough to genuinely compete with film. And they were roughly right about the timeline. So in their minds, they had time. They had years to prepare. What they failed to understand, what so many dominant companies fail to understand, is that when disruption comes, it doesn't announce itself with a countdown timer. It creeps slowly, almost invisibly, and then it arrives all at once. This is what Harvard Business School professor Clayton Christensen would later call the innovator's dilemma. The theory goes like this. When a new, disruptive technology first emerges, it is almost always worse than the existing technology in every measurable way. Digital cameras in the 1980s were slower, lower quality, more expensive, and harder to use than film cameras. So the rational business decision, the decision that every spreadsheet and every quarterly earnings report would support, is to stay focused on your profitable core business. Invest in what's working. Serve your existing customers who are happy with what they have. And monitor the new technology from a safe distance. This is completely logical. This is also how great companies die. Let's talk about the numbers so you can see exactly how this played out in real time. In 1996, Kodak's revenues reached their all-time peak of $16 billion. The stock was trading at over $90 per share. The company was considered one of the most valuable and respected brands in the world, listed alongside Coca-Cola and IBM in global brand rankings. This was the same year the first consumer digital cameras were hitting the mainstream market. The same year that Kodak should have been going all in on digital. Instead, they doubled down on film. Between 1996 and 2003, Kodak spent billions of dollars trying to extend the life of film through a product called the Advantic system, a hybrid camera that used a new type of film cartridge. It was a massive investment to slightly improve a technology that was already dying. At the same time, companies like Sony, Canon, and a small startup called Apple were quietly building the digital future that Kodak had invented and abandoned. By 2000, digital camera sales were growing at 30% per year. By 2003, digital cameras outsold film cameras for the first time in history. Kodak's revenue went into freefall. They tried to pivot. They launched digital cameras, digital printing, digital services. But they were always late, always second, always playing catch-up in a race they had the opportunity to lead. By 2004, Kodak had laid off 15,000 employees. By 2007, the iPhone arrived and turned every phone into a digital camera, accelerating the collapse of dedicated camera hardware entirely. By 2010, Kodak stock had fallen from over $90 to under $3. On January 19, 2012, Eastman Kodak Company filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection. The company that had once been worth $31 billion was asking a court for protection from its creditors. Now here is the most painful irony of this entire story. The same year Kodak filed for bankruptcy, a small startup called Instagram, a company built entirely on digital photography, entirely on the technology Kodak had pioneered, was acquired by Facebook for $1 billion. Instagram had 13 employees. Kodak at its peak had 145,000. The future that Steve Sasson had built in 1975, the future Kodak had locked in a drawer, had just sold for $1 billion to a social media company. And Kodak wasn't in the room. So what is the lesson here? What is the pattern that Vektor Intelligence wants you to take from the Kodak story and apply to how you think about every business you analyze, every stock you evaluate, and every industry you watch? The lesson is this. Disruption doesn't come from outside your walls. It comes from inside them. The most dangerous competitor a dominant company faces is almost never a direct rival. It is the new technology or new business model that makes their most profitable product obsolete. And the tragedy of success is that the more profitable your core business is, the harder it is psychologically, financially, and organizationally to abandon it, even when you know you must. This pattern is not unique to Kodak. You can see it in Blockbuster refusing to buy Netflix. You can see it in Nokia dismissing the touchscreen smartphone. You can see it in traditional banks watching fintech startups take their customers one mobile app at a time. And if you look carefully enough right now, today, in 2026, you can see this exact same pattern playing out in industries that haven't collapsed yet. Companies sitting on technologies they've invented but are too afraid to deploy. Businesses protecting profit margins that are quietly being made irrelevant. This is what Vektor Intelligence is here to find. And this is why the story of Kodak is not a history lesson. It is a warning about the present. If you found this analysis valuable, subscribe to Vektor Intelligence right now. Every week we use AI-powered analysis and deep storytelling to decode the strategies, the failures, and the hidden patterns behind the companies shaping your world. Hit the bell so you never miss a video. And drop a comment below. Which company do you think is making the exact same mistake as Kodak right now? I respond to every single comment. I will see you in the next one.